No intro, no nothing. Straight to the show. Thank you for being patient. I was having a problem. I restarted the computer and it seems to be going okay now. I think I'm going to have to change a streaming service because StreamYard, maybe they are just overpopulated now and they don't have enough whatever it takes to get people out there because my computer's fairly new and I don't know what's going on, but thank you everyone who will watch this on the replay. Thank you everyone who will come in and dabble in. Now, there is a reason why I pushed this up. It was supposed to be later tonight. Baby Boomers, the music. I changed the title when I had to change the show because of the lagging before. I deleted it, rescheduled for 4:45. Baby Boomers dying, and it's supposed to be off, not of. So I will make a correction right now because it seems to be working. And the title should be good now. The picture is from Coney Island last year at the Met Cyclone game. That's not now. I'm probably 10 pounds thinner. But this goes out to Danae. Met Danae a few weeks back. Hey, Mike, I'm up. We're not dead yet. We're not. Danae, I met. We, kindred spirits would be a very generic term. But we had a wonderful conversation on the phone after she found me and would comment and leave beautiful messages, my shorts, very, very supportive messages. And then she had told me she was sending me a care package. I didn't know why, other than that she's really nice. Hey, Emmanuel. So I got the box today. I have to tell you, I've made money on this channel, super chats, you know, people have once or twice sent me things. I knew these people. I did not give them my address. I trusted Danae because you can tell. Hey, Mike, no gummies. um, this is one of the shirts, the shirt that she bought me, which I love. I didn't even iron it because I wanted to come on here and just do this. A beautiful plushy throw blanket, cream, healing cream, natural for pain. A beautiful little keychain, which would affix that you can carry around that has a beautiful round. I have it right here. I'll show you. Right, this can go on a keychain. A little pocket hug. Some teas. My new YouTube mug, which will be used from now on when I do my shows. Yes, I did wash it. But the most special thing, and interestingly enough, when we had contacted each other today, evidently the package got delivered. It was supposed to be here a few days ago. It got delivered to the wrong address, and she was so worried and mentioned this wooden, I don't know what you would call it, with the wonderful subscription in the back to me. I've been looking for something. It had to catch me to hold this when I take it off. I don't wear it sleeping because I don't want to get caught, break Colby's ashes. And I now have a place to put it for safekeeping during the evenings when I'm laying down on the nightstand right next to my bed. So this and everything is beautiful is the most important to me. So, Danae, thank you so much. First of all, when someone buys an array of things and takes the time to handpick things, the shoulder, the cream, or the paint, the little bit of luck, a little bit of heart with you, a fleece throw blanket, which I use all the time, this wonderful shirt, fleecy kind of shirt, the mug, things that someone has to put a little thought into because they care about you. Because they care enough to want to make you feel good on multiple levels. Whether it's something that warms your heart with a beautiful inscription on the back, a fleece when you're cold or maybe down. A fleece is an adult's teddy bear. A mug, a smile. And the smile it put, Mike, I'll tell you, empathy isn't even the word. It's a good word. But I have not felt this way from ever receiving anything in my 5 years that I'm truly on here. I've had this channel since 2008, but I didn't do anything with it until 5 years ago. Danae, all I can say is from the bottom of my heart, A, you gave me hope. Now that there are still good people. Now, something with Danae, we are very, well, maybe not very different politically, but very different politically. It reminds me of something my son said a very long time ago. He was probably 5 or 6, and I got something for Christmas. It was almost like his. He goes, Dad, yours is exactly like mine, just different. You hear the statement. Sometimes people can be far apart, but yet so joined. And I'll tell you where we are joined. There is no doubt in my mind, although she thinks a little different than me politically, that she truly loves her country, as I do. Sometimes you get to a destination, GPS gives someone a different set of directions, but you still get there. And I think that's what you learn from people. Now, also, and I'll be honest with you guys, I have people that watch this. I wasn't going to say it, but I decided to. And I shared it with Danae, who's one of the only people about 40 minutes ago. I have sponsors that enjoy what I do and appreciate it. A couple of them are, let's just say, slant certainly to the right. So I need to make everybody happy. Now, truly, when you hear me, I am being pretty genuine. I have a lot of liberal listen, I was in a band. I have a lot of liberal tendencies, although I'm a Republican. And sometimes I'll go on a tangent. But it doesn't mean that I don't see someone who could be a narcissist, someone that could be dangerous. Both sides. So if I appear very deeply rooted in one direction, is sometimes you have to remember this is entertainment. and there are things I need to do. That's why it's so important for me to be me when I'm on here, other than politics, because I feel that it's not quite a sellout, but I need to be a little more politically correct for both sides. So I just want to be me. And that's why I'll tell you, as Mike said so eloquently, we're up. We're not dead yet. Boomers are dying off in terms of life and death, but the world has changed quite a bit. Music has changed quite a bit. Movies, guidelines, what you feel you want the public to focus on, change, because the world has changed. Nowadays, this is like a pitcher. I am like a pitcher who threw 98 miles an hour, and I'm on the backside of my career. And now I throw 89, and I have to learn to get you out. I have to learn to live with it or go home with my ball. And as a 64-year-old, I'm learning that this world is not the one that I lived in when I was in my 20s. It's changed. Some for the good, some for the bad, and some for the indifferent, some for the sake of change. And it's my job to at least open my eyes and not listen to others, judge for myself. Like chicken parmesan because I've tasted it and like it. Not because I've never tasted it and two of my friends says, it's terrible, you won't like it. Experience it. Without that, you really can't, with any sincerity, live. Now, the music that meant so much to me, I've told the story how I became really into music. I had a babysitter, Marianne, who was about 16 at the time. I was probably 7 or 8. Lived in a neighborhood where the basements in the private houses were used as living quarters. You just had major holidays up in your main house and slept. But downstairs, you had a kitchen, a full-service kitchen, a bathroom, and you hung out all day. I used to go down there, and I saw her standing there, and she gave me the 45. I wore it out. The grooves are practically non-existent when I got finished listening to it. And I became a Beatle fan. And from there, I experienced, when you're 7 or 8, you're like the Partridge Family back then. I remember when I was 8 or 9, whatever it was. What did I listen to? The Jacksons, Jackson 5, right? That's what you listen to at that age. Maybe you see Michael Jackson as a kid your age, and you feel that you can relate to that. But whatever the case is, I loved music because of Marianne. That was my first gift that keeps on giving. K-Tel, remember that on television? I remember that, K-Tel. I remember the record clubs where you scotch taped a penny and you could choose like 12 or 13 8 tracks back then, or albums. I think they offered cassettes. And it was incredible. You taped the penny and you never paid the bill. At least I didn't. Yeah, the K-Tel albums, yeah. DJ Columbia House. Thank you, Ira. That's what it was, Columbia House. And I ordered in 1970. I could tell you a few of the albums I ordered. John Barleycorn Must Die by Traffic. The Beatles weren't available. Hey, Maria, how are you? It's good to see you. And that one, Herb Albert and the Tijuana Brass. Don't know why I picked that one. Remember that? I remember the singles that were playing on the radio at that time were Band of Gold. That was around 1970 by Frida Payne. Coconut by Harry Nilsson. I heard The Rapper by the Jaggers because my aunt, who was Mary Ann's age, lived with us for about a month. Well, no, what are we talking about? A year. That was my mother's younger sister. And she had 45s. And of course I played them. And the Jaggers, Tommy James and the Shondells, Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels, Sock It to Me Baby, and all that stuff. So I really got into it. So by the time 1972 or 1973 comes around, when I'm sitting with a kind of a boombox with my friends, when the radio came on, a couple of notes in, I could tell you what the song was, who did it, and all that. And then later on, I became a band member, toured, and wrote songs and stuff. But yeah, those albums, those were the baby boomer lifeline. You didn't have to like it, but you certainly knew. You knew of it. You may not have loved it, but who didn't hear House of the Rising Sun by Eric Burdon? Who didn't hear the song In the Year 2525 by Zager and Evans? That seemed like a science fiction fantasy. Well, 2525, we won't be here to see it, but it'll get here. It's incredible. All the memories that get stuck in this little brain, some much more prevalent than others, some can go out with the trash like your old AOL when you emptied the trash, remember? But baby boomers are getting older. The baby boomer time. Eighth inning. How do we make sure that we don't go down as the generation that didn't prepare this generation for success? Because we will get blamed. Yes, Mike, I used to love taking cassette tapes, record and play with pause, waiting on the radio, waiting for the radio station to play the one I liked and hit the pause. I was the king of making my own tapes, cassette tapes. Loved it. But we all have music that we remember that really did something to us. I guess it's a generational thing. This generation doesn't know about albums. They cherry pick. They go to Apple or Spotify, whatever, and you take the song you like, and that's it. We were the generation of albums. Early on in our lifetime, we were too young probably, but Rubber Soul by the Beatles became the first album that you really listened to. front to back, and it made some sense. And then the early 80s, it got away from that a bit. Huey Lewis and the News, look at their first album. It was like an album of hits. It wasn't congruent to what they were trying to say. Absolutely, Ira. If you tell me a song, I can pretty much tell you what I was doing around that period. Very true. Um, Stepping Out, Joe Jackson around 1980, because I remember Breaking Us in Two came out as well. And Joe Jackson is releasing a new album. It'll be out in a couple of weeks. 3 songs already are available. One was about him coming out. I believe it's probably based on his story. And another one that I heard today was really good. College. Um, yeah, I remember so much. And the scary thing is the bucket, right? If the bucket is your life, the bucket really doesn't have all that much space to put any more liquid. Yeah, this is the other one. I'm gonna get copywritten, but I don't give a shit. I'll put it on for you. See my recording studio in the back of me. I'm just joking. Uh, Here you'll. It's actually very good. It's very Joe Jackson. It's called All the Time. See if I stop it every now and then, they won't maybe bother me. If it's even true, it seems like breaking up is never hard to do. Why should it be so different for me and you? Not this one, Mike. This just came out. Maybe we should stay together. It's actually pretty good. It's Joe Jackson, you know. And the thing is, yeah, Mike, the other one was about a month ago. You're correct. And that was the one about coming out and all that. This is really good. It's very Joe Jackson. I'm going to see Joe Jackson in July, Radio City. And I think it's Radio City, either that or the Beacon. I forget where. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm a big Joe Jackson guy. I think that Joe Jackson really personified what was going to happen in the 80s. You know, he came out with, you know, whatever, Look Sharp and all that stuff. But in the 80s, when he started breaking up, Breaking Us in Two, Stepping Out, both really big hits. He infused jazz. He had this song called Cancer. He had a live album. I think it was called Night and Day. Excellent album. And Joe Jackson never really made it all that big because I think Joe Jackson was very much like Squeeze. No one knew what to do with him. He played a saxophone. He played good pianist, jazz infused, show tunes almost. So he didn't really fit anywhere. Like a jack of all trades, master of none, but very talented dude. And this just goes to show you that even the baby boomers' music can be relevant. Now, relevant to a baby boomer. If I let my son hear it, he's gonna say, "Oh, Joe Jackson took an L." You know, that's going to be his response. Oh, okay, Marshall Crenshaw, sure. But you're right, Mike. Last month, I put that on. I'm going to have a couple of different songs tonight you'll enjoy. I'm branching out. But when I think of the music that really meant something to me, I'll tell you the song that put me in a band was hanging out with my friend, and we went to a bar, and the band played a cover of Pretty Woman. This is 1981, around February. And I saw the response. It was like nothing I've ever seen before. Two girls, especially. I just, well, they were pretty besides, but I was glancing over. They seemed mesmerized by what was coming out of this 30-something-year-old heavy-set guy's mouth. And when I saw that look, I said, I got to get me some of that. Not so much the girl, although that would have been okay too. And I actually did hang out with her a few weeks later. But that response, to be able to do that to someone with words that someone else wrote 15 years before, incredible. And I originated it and passed it on to crowds and loved it. John Prine. Absolutely, Maria. That's the great thing about, I tell you, YouTube, boy, if you went by what they give to me, I'd have to pay them like a rent. It's incredible. I love it. I watch movies on YouTube, and I have YouTube Prime because of doing this. So I get movies and music and all that. But so that was the song, which I had heard many times before. But that night, it meant something different. Now, I often ask myself, if I didn't see those two girls watching the singer, would it have had the same effect? Because I've heard that song before. Not really with a cover band, but I heard it at a wedding when I was young. Sometimes there are moments that are meant to pass you by. Always goes back to girls. It always does. At least for me. And then I was a bouncer in a club. Girls like bouncers. You don't have to be good looking. You got to be a bouncer. So I broke out of my shyness at a very early age. But I'll tell you something. That Pretty Woman started it all for my performing career. When we moved from West 8th Street, when I was, I think I was turning 10, around June 1970, because I had gone to see Let It Be with my aunt. And I came out, I think, in May of 70. And I remember a whole new world opened up to me. My father bought me a drum set. I started drumming at about 9. And Cracklin' Rosie was the first song I played on drums. Build Me Up, Buttercup. which had been out 5 years already, that song. Big difference when you're 10, 11. Now, when we moved, the Moving Men, leaving West 8th Street, we had this big wood television, the big console with the Victrola, they called it, on the top. Well, I had taken a 45, it was Sunshine of Your Love, and put it through the crack and it fell. And it was inside the cabinet. And in the back, you have that plasterboard, that board, which I could have very easily opened, but you don't know that at 8 years old. I could have just done it. And I asked the Moving Men, I'll never forget, saying, "Oh, I dropped something in there. Could you?" And they, there's little pins. Took the back off and gave it to me. I hadn't heard it for a couple of years. But I just soaked up music. And then when I was a teen, I started getting into, I had friends that were into Kiss. I was never into Kiss. I went to see them at the Nassau Coliseum, but I was not into them. I liked a couple of songs, but, not like people were crazy. And that was like 1976 when they were big, 77. But I went to see Chicago, KC and the Sunshine Band, and Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons at Madison Square Garden around 1975. And that was good. And then I went to see, with my Aunt Nancy again, she had married by 1976, and in August, I went to see Jefferson Starship. They were called Starship at the time. Spitfire was the album that came out. And Jan Hammer and Jeff Beck opened up Nassau Coliseum. And that was my first real, like, kind of heavy music, not Chicago and stuff. I do remember when I saw Chicago, Terry Kath had a football jersey on stage. I remember that. And I bought the album Spitfire. It was 76. It was August, right after my birthday. If anyone is ambitious enough to go check, it was probably around August 20th, 1976, when I saw them at the Nassau Coliseum in Uniondale, Long Island. And then I started almost the age of going by myself. You're still not going to 15 concerts yourself. By 17, I went with my friends, and my mother drove us to the Felt Forum. Donna Summer played at the Felt Forum, the theater at Madison Square Garden. Hi, Danae. And I remember that was cool. And I got into disco for a minute. I was a little too young for disco. You got to remember, when disco was big, I was 14, 15, 16. I was too young to get into the clubs where people were going. In Sheepshead Bay, they had tracks and they had trolleys, a couple of dry bars, discos for 15, 16-year-olds. They served Coke and cranberry juice, and you can go listen. Now, I did, at 18, no, maybe 19, I went to the Cotillion Terrace. I think it was on 18th Avenue, and the Village People were there. And I walked because someone canceled out on me. It was about 15 blocks from my house on 18th Avenue. And I walked, and I met a girl who was there alone as well. Started talking. Someone bumped into her, I think, and she dropped her drink, and ice went on me or something. It hardly went on me. And we started talking, and I walked her home. She lived like 4 blocks away. And her name was Joanne. And we started dating for a while. And the funny thing is, the girl that, she was only a friend, the one that stood me up kind of. She couldn't get out of the house, she said. I don't know if it was true. But I never kind of hung out with her again. She was in high school with me. So I knew her from high school, but I was out of high school now. But, funny things happen. The movie FM. Which movie was that? Trying to remember. Is my bold and I don't know if you were on earlier, but that's where my Colby will rest in his little cradle when I sleep. So, yeah, music means the world to me, as you can tell. I don't know what it is. I became a musician because of music. I wonder if I never got into the Beatles, if I would have ever got into, I played the drums. I went to Juilliard and won a drum off with 100 drummers. Um, I'm a drummer. I learned the guitar to be able to lead sing with the band. It's hard to, from the kid, but I'm really a drummer. Martin Mull, the Doobie Brothers. My question was, were you using doobies plural at that time? um, I remember someone asked me, "Do you like the Stones?" I said, "Yeah, Fred and Wilmer are okay." I remember when I was on tour. I was on tour for 22 days with the South, and I remember, when you're alone. Well, I wasn't actually. My girlfriend at the time toured with us, and all the guys, girls. But you know, after a while, you lay there and you say, "You know what? Well, no, that Wilma Flintstone is a nice butt." You start getting a little crazy. But it's good to see you, Maria. It really is. But music can really change your life. Think about it. You go to a funeral. Do they have to have music while you're staring at a casket? You're not crying enough? Well, I teach elders, Mike. I'm not teaching younger people. When I taught in school, this is continuing ed. When I taught in school, I taught fourth and fifth graders. At NYU, I taught 22 to 40. Um, these are elders that have nothing to do with their money or their time, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it. That's why I do the Broadway play theme and the Rodgers and Hammerstein, because this is what they would be interested in. Um, but yeah, and the great thing about this, I'm partnered up. Someone that co-teaches with me is an 82-year-old gentleman, an attorney from Princeton graduate, very bright, and he brings the Stephen Sondheim, the Cole Porter, which I love Cole Porter anyway, um, all that stuff, and I love it. I've learned so much from him, and it opened up. See, I don't mind learning new things, but like I was saying, music, Sweet 16, Bar Mitzvah, Bas Mitzvah, communion, wedding, engagement. There's always music attached. Why? I'll tell you why. Because music is really the only thing that, like the Tower of Babel, every floor, different language. This way they can get it done. People couldn't commiserate with each other, as the story goes. Music, I can bring you to a club anywhere, and I could get 500 people representing 500 different walks of life where no one speaks the same language. And the DJ can play a song. You can all be dancing to it, having a great time to it, even smile at each other without even knowing what they're saying on the song or what she or he is saying to you. But you will have as good a time as you would have if you understood if she said, excuse me. The only venue, the only discipline where discipline gets thrown out the window and emotion takes over. And generally speaking, if you let emotion take over, it's very dangerous. Right? Think about it. Anything in your life, if you were dealing only with emotion, you're cooked. You are cooked. Guarantee you. You're cooked. You have to have a little bit of unbiased reasoning. Dancing is all emotion. Because I guarantee you, you do a freestyle for 3 minutes, you cannot ever replicate it. You may be close. I stand here, right? If I stand here and I'm this, and I just do this, right? I can never spin like, and I used to dance. Karate got me. I could never do that exactly the same again. You will think it's the same thing, but it's not. If you had electrodes put on my body and sensors, that was probably totally different than the next spin I would do that looks to your eyes exactly the same. That's the way it is. Music is all emotion. Generally speaking, if you deal with all emotion, someone flips you off in the car, get out of the car because you're mad. See what happens. Guarantee nothing good. Guy's not going to say, I love that aggressiveness. Do you want a job? That's not happening. Emotion is where we really can get in trouble. Music, to me, is the only place where we can take the blinders off, turn the motor off, and glide. And know we're going to glide to a safe spot, not hit a building. 3 fields in front of us. That's what music gives you. Music gives you a chance to escape to wherever you want to escape, knowing you're going to get back. And that's what the baby boomers relied on to get where they are now. A place in time where we let emotion carry us to a dream, to a career, to an engagement. Do you know how many times, and the LOL, Danae, is for my screwed up spin. Do you know how many times, I don't know this answer, that a guy was probably sitting in a car with the girl he loved, hears a song, sees her react, and says, I'm going to ask you to marry me. How many times music soothed you where you just hugged someone that needed a hug? And for that 3-minute song, everything was okay. You both were thinking the same thing. And you were not a mind reader, nor was he or she. But for that 3 minutes, your souls were connected like never before. It's very powerful tonight. Yes, cool kids there. Music, to me, not only is it the soundtrack to your life, but it's the soundtrack to your alternate life. See, this is your alternate universe, watching YouTube. That's why people have avatars. You have keyboard tough guys who were probably picked on in school, but on here they could be John Gotti. You can go wherever you want because it's a personal experience. It's you. I don't hear a song the way you do because I am a musician. I'll, oh, the drummer was oh, they went from 4/3, and I'm surprised they put the four in the bar, and he tried to get it fifth. I hear that. Hey, Christian, I hear that stuff as a musician. So when I'm listening to a song, I'm usually listening for what's going on behind it. It's like a pitching coach that can spot that the pitcher is not following through correctly. His arm angle is not coming down the same slot every pitch. Well, that's what I do. I listen. Yes, Danae, you're right. Music has connected us all. I listen to the beats per minute for a reason. Probably at nauseam. I probably shouldn't. But I do. Because I like to learn from music. It's like learning lessons. When you fail, sometimes it's the greatest thing in the world to fail. Greatest thing in the world. Because you can really learn. Think about Thursday night. Think about Friday night. You happen to have to go halfway toward where you're going Saturday night to a wedding. And you didn't know, but Friday night you go out and that road is under construction, and every night you're going to be an hour late. If you didn't go out Friday night to see that, you would have missed cocktail hour Saturday night. But because you saw it the night before, you learned, I'll take another route. That's what happens in life with music. Yeah, Maria, movies and music. Absolutely, Christian. I totally agree with you. I could care less about how a person looks. Um, Generally speaking, Iron Maiden to get pumped up for the day. I love Genesis. I love Genesis. Um, Totally different band when Phil Collins took over the lead. They went from really prog because prog groups, other than Floyd, don't really make any money. They could have a cult following, but prog songs generally aren't going to be number one. They were too long to play on standard FM radio. ELO, Boston was great. That 1976 album won an album of the year. That was amazing, that album. Their second album was good, but not quite as good because of the first album. If that second album was their first album, they would have won album of the year with that album too. But it was compared off the first. It was like comparing The Godfather 3 to The Godfather 2. If there was never a 1 and 2, The Godfather would have been a good movie, The Godfather 3. But because you're a victim of your own success, and that's what Boston was. 80s and 90s. The 80s music was eclectic. The good thing about the 80s, see now, you have a formula. You throw everybody in a pot, you throw the ingredients, and out comes Timberlake and Grande and this one and that. In the 80s, you could be who you wanted to be. You could be Cyndi Lauper, you could be the antithesis, you could be Grace Jones, who is certainly proof that there was life on other planets. You have Boy George, everything. The new British invasion. You had crooners again. You had Whitney Houston. You just had so much. Anita Baker. You could be who you wanted to be in the 80s. Now, most producers will put stuff out there that they wouldn't listen to at home. They just know what sells. I do believe that, Danae. I think most stuff happens for a reason. I love Dave Edmunds. Uh, I don't think, I think it's my free choice to take a sip of this coffee. But that, God forbid, of a car accident, I don't think that's my choice. Danae's wonderful mug, which will be my official YouTube mug now. Straight from the heart of Texas. I like Dave Edmonds. What's that song? Girls Talk or whatever. Dave Edmonds was in that movie, Give My Regards to Broad Street with Paul McCartney. In that band, that's Dave Edmonds. From dawn till dusk and judge my psychological well-being according to everything else. Danae, me too. That is probably why we connected. From the minute I get up in the morning, I mean it. Music. I can't take a bath or a shower without music. I bring that speaker into the bathroom. So if I ever miss a short, it's because I got electrocuted. Going to sleep, YouTube music. It's it's probably an unhealthy part of my life now because I could be doing other things, but there's nothing I'd rather be doing. Nothing I'd rather be doing. And I'm one up on you, Danae, because I am bipolar. I'm crazy and I have papers in the vault to prove it. So there you go. But maybe that's why music is so soothing. I did a show for Dominic Kines. Remember the actor, Godfather, Sopranos? I did a show at Astoria Bank in 2014. The guy Gary, the head of HR, was his nephew. Hooked me up with him. And he does music for elders, Dominic Kines, for Alzheimer's, for all that. He's very involved in that. And I had a talk with him. And I did a show for him in Manhattan. And the therapeutic, there's a great guy in music, a guy that I knew. He wasn't my friend. He was a couple of years older than me, but I knew him from my neighborhood, Alan Terry, Turry. And he did music as a therapeutic, and he lectures all over the world. His name's Alan Terry. He's probably about 68. He became very famous. I knew him when I was younger. He was friends with the other side of Shorehaven. We didn't hang out, but I knew him. Nice, very nice guy. He was very good friends with Sam and Seth Levinson. Well, Seth Levinson, who owns Aces, this sports agency that represent players. I know Seth, since 1973. Oh, Stone in Love is great. That is an amazing song. People get blacklisted for many reasons. God forbid you piss off the wrong person. You don't necessarily have had to do anything terrible, but if it's terrible to that person, you're in trouble. This is for you.
Listen. I called Neil up the other day. I says, how you doing? He says, I never felt so good. I said, the other night I talked to you, you were feeling down in the dumps. What's your secret? He says, I found me a lady, and son, right now I am stone in love. Those crazy nights I do remember in my youth. I do recall those were the best times. And still, in my feet, every
Song. Shown is one of the best guitarists I've ever seen. Yes, I was talking about you, Danae, for the first 10 minutes. You got to go back. Um, music, well, you know what's interesting? The Hit Factory is where John Lennon used to record. I think I told you, I met someone that was the producer of that album, Jack Douglas, and Geffen, his adopted nephew. And he told me stories. And he said that Perry got into not Buddhism, but it got very spiritual, and that's what separated him from Journey. But I'm surprised they never went back. At this age, and Sean played for Bowie. Sean at 20 years of age was offered, I think, to be in the Yardbirds. He's just a prodigy. Hey, Pauline, from Liverpool. How are you? Are you a Scouser? I worked in England 18 months. I never got to Liverpool. Can you imagine? I wanted to go up north. I never got there. Liverpool. Is it still very dark? I remember seeing movies where the buildings were like stained soot. It's a seaport. But Liverpool, awesome. And it's 10:42 where you are, Pauline. So I hope you're having a great evening. And I heard London has changed a great deal. I haven't been there in many years. Yes, you're a Scouser. I know. I used to love England when I worked there. I loved it. I was in London. In fact, I've shown this. This was my. I used to bring clients to the Gloucester Sporting Club. That's me in 1990, and it was on the Victoria Casino. I don't know if you know where that is in Gloucester. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it was great. It was like a James Bond casino. It was amazing. London was great. Yeah, they were black and very city. Liverpool. I'm going to get to London again. I'm going to go, especially to Liverpool. So we will have coffee, Pauline, because I was going to go there within a few months. I want to go to Liverpool. I want to take the tour of John Mendips. I want to go with Mendips and all that. I have a friend that my ex-fiance was born in London. She came here at 12 years of age. She took her 11 plus exams. Do you remember your 11 plus exam, Pauline? Did you take the 11 plus? It's like the SAT for 11-year-olds in London, and it puts you on your course of what kind of scholastic program they're going to put you in. It's called the 11 plus. You're a pagan? Danae is full of surprises. You know what's going to happen? I could write this book. Danae is, when I go to heaven, I'm going to get to heaven. But let's just, for these purposes, say I get to heaven. And I get to the gate, and I'm ready to see God. A big chair, Danae's going to be sitting there saying, "You didn't know it was me, did you?" Yes, I certainly would see you there. I definitely would look you up there because I would love to. I love to meet people from the channel. I've become good friends with people. And Rose Lane, yeah, I really want to get to Liverpool. I'm thinking of going maybe in August, to be honest with you. Just for 5 days. I used to fly into Heathrow and they used to leave at 9 p.m. That's great. Every day I write the book. And I used to be hammered at 8 o'clock in the morning when we landed. What is Jesus rock music, Christian? I'm asking a Christian. What is Jesus rock music? I seriously don't know what that is. I love Elvis Costello. He came around with the Police and Joe Jackson. I've seen him live. He's terrific live, Elvis Costello. He used to have this big wheel, and he'd spin it and had songs on it, and he would do those songs. And in fact, I didn't know this was coming, but here we go.
Every day I write the book.
That's the wheel I was talking about. This is for you. Christian rock music because it's for Christians. Here's rock. Here's rock. I love this music. I think it's Thomas. I've trouble with CDs for a little while. That's yeah.
Oh, Joey, you don't know what love is when you're old enough to know better. When you found string chance and you sweater. When you dream hope turns out to be a phenomenal man with a mission to a dream.
Every day I write the book. Yeah, he's real good. Elvis Costello. I like him a lot. I saw him in Atlantic City. I saw him a couple of years ago at Parks, the casino. Really, really good. And his last album was very good. Very eclectic guy. You know, I saw him with the Attractions. I saw him with the Imposters. He's really talented, and he's married to Diane Krall, who's a great pianist. And if you listen to what's it called, Kisses or something, Paul McCartney's album about 10 years ago, she's the pianist on it. John Lennon Airport. Really? Yeah, I really want to come in August. I really do. How would airfare now is what, 700 maybe? I'll see if they have bed and breakfasts there or whatever. Yes, Mike. People that know about these art, that's the greatest thing. See how music brought us all together? We're on here more than an hour. You've given me so much time tonight. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. Today, listen to that first 10 minutes, sweetheart. Maria, it's great to see you. It really is. And all of you. Oh, I love Allison. I love that song. That came out with Accidents Will Happen. That's my favorite song, Accidents Will Happen. And also, Sunday's Best is a great song by Elvis Costello. But thank you so much, everybody, for coming in. You guys have an amazing weekend. I might come on before the end of the weekend, but just in case I don't, have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. Good to see you, Pauline. God save the Queen. And I will see you guys soon. Take care.